Before we begin, if you like real-style horror stories about houses that remember people, hit subscribe. Because the house in this story knew my name before I ever spoke it out loud. Last summer, I rented an old, cheap house in a small Pennsylvania town. The landlord mentioned the last tenant, an elderly woman who lived there for 40 years, never traveled, never moved. She died in that house. When I stepped inside, the air didn't feel heavy or haunted. It felt aware. As I walked through, the floorboards didn't creak under my footsteps. They creaked half a second. After, I stopped walking, like something was following one step behind me, not copying me, but catching up to where I had just been. That first night around 2 a.m., I woke up to a sound in the hallway. Not footsteps, not a bang. It sounded like a dry mouth quietly practicing a word. Slow, shaky, like someone trying to pronounce something forgotten. Then, right outside my door, the whisper finally formed a name. My name. It wasn't threatening. It wasn't even scary. Just curious. Like it was making sure it got the sound right. When I opened the door, the hallway was empty, but the air was warm, like someone had been standing there seconds earlier. The next morning, I tried brushing it off, but when I flipped the kitchen switch, the lights flickered 3 slow, controlled times. Not random, not electrical, intentional. The moment the flickering stopped, I heard a soft male voice from the living room whisper, "You came back. Finally." My blood turned cold. I had never been in this town before, never in this state, but the voice didn't sound like the old woman. It sounded younger, tired, patient. That's when I realized something. The house wasn't reacting to me. It was reacting to someone I reminded it of. Someone who had lived there long before the old woman. That night, I set my phone on record. At exactly 3:12 a.m., the doorknob started turning on its own. Slowly. Like someone who knew the room and wasn't in a hurry. The door opened just a few inches, and in the darkness beyond, the phone captured a shape. Not a shadow, not a person, but a human outline made from the darkest parts of the room itself. Like the house was trying to remember what someone looked like, but could only recreate an impression of them. It didn't walk in. It just stood there, head tilted, like it was studying me. Then a whisper came right next to the mic. "You left me here. Why did you come back looking different?" The voice sounded like mine. But not exactly. More like an older, exhausted version of me. A version the house had kept. The next morning, I confronted the landlord. He didn't react with surprise. He reacted like he'd been expecting this. At first, he said, "Old houses, they make sounds." But when I told him the house knew my name, he froze. Then he said something I'll never forget. "That house doesn't forget people. It keeps their voice, their habits, their shape." I asked how he knew that. He swallowed hard. The woman who lived there said if she ever moved out, the version of her the house created would try to follow her. I asked him who I looked like. He wouldn't answer. He just whispered, "That house doesn't want new tenants. It wants the old ones back, in whatever form it can make them." I didn't pack anything. I just ran. It's been months since I left, but some nights, at exactly 3:12 a.m., my phone's voice recorder turns on by itself. And when I check the audio in the morning, there's a whisper, not calling my name. Practicing it, getting clearer, sounding more like me. Every single night, like the house is rebuilding me piece by piece, so it can call me back home. If you want more stories like this, hit subscribe. New videos every week. And if any house has ever said your name when you were alone, tell your story in the comments. I might read it in the next one.